Well, thanks for jumping on the call with me, Holly. I really appreciate it.
Nice to be here, Chris.
Yeah,
My pleasure.
yeah. So tell me about like before we met, kind of like what was going on, like, because like you told me a little bit of the story, but tell me the story about like before we did meet each other, kind of where you were at with like what you were doing with like embroidery and that sort of thing, or even I guess you weren't into it really, but like what kind of led up to that?
Yeah. Well, I was doing a little bit of embroidery. I mean, I had someone I met at a Burger King of all places, and she was a real sweet lady, and she was a single mom and had an autistic son. And she just said that he was kind of closed off, but really very, very sharp. And he had a favorite team, and it was his birthday was coming up. And so I was able to go home and make some kind of fancy, I mean, it was really quite a deal. Actually, okay, I did have an embroidery machine at that time before I actually came and met you, but I wanted to increase my own skills at that point. I wanted to learn more about it. So I ended up coming to Blakeman Sew & Back. And I started I was taking machine in to get it fixed. So I met that part of the staff. And then I met, people like Lisa and Richard, and they were giving in-store classes, and I got involved in those. And it was just perfect because it was something I liked. They were very friendly. They had a group of people that came. I started to build a little community around me. We started to do those weekend-long skill building workshops, introducing your clients to high-end sewing machines, and also brought in top shelf instructors from all over the country. And we just had a great time. And so my community expanded, just like things do when you start to build things. So that was really, really fun.
Would you tell me about when we talked about business, and we did a free business consultation basically, and how did that go? Just tell me about that experience.
Okay, well, first I want to tell you that the way I got into that was actually at these weekend educational. You got that? Okay. The way I got introduced to your free business planning sessions was at the workshop, because I wanted to tell this part of my story, because I started to get, I'm one of those people that build on what I have here and then want to engage more. Yeah. And so at one of those workshops, I remember going up to you, because you're very approachable, and I just said, I wonder what it would, sometimes I think about starting just a small home business. And that's the time. I was really shy because, I knew nothing about business. All I knew is I had this little spark in me. And you said, well, why don't we set up an appointment and do one of these free business planning sessions and see where that goes? And that's how I actually learned about this opportunity. And I remember I could have met you in Boulder at the store, which is where I was hanging out, but you also had the store in Wyoming at that point. And I was all open for road trips, and I said, I'll come up to your Wyoming store. It was such a fun day. So I got myself in the car, and I went up to your Wyoming store, and you met me there. And the takeaways from that meeting were just incredible. And I actually want to get this right, because again, it was kind of like, it's just how you approach things. It's like the complete package type of thing. I walked away just knowing how to do it and take the next step, but it was real nuts and bolts oriented. So I told you what I wanted to do. And I remember telling you I wanted to do memory quilts, and my tagline was remembering when. And you told me that, well, first you need to go and do a name search, make sure nobody has your name. Then you taught me how to register my business. And I thought, well, that's cool. That ended up being a very easy process because you told me where to go. It wasn't expensive. So that piece, which is something that's kind of complicated to many, just became very easy, and it got me out of the gate.
It does seem complicated in the beginning too.
It does. And when I actually went and did it, it was easy, but it was because of me getting that piece from you. You taught me how to do things like how to write my business description. I remember that process. And that piece was fun because I actually like to write. And you helped me to not only make sure I got in what I was doing, but it was the way to put it together to make it appealing. And it actually brought out the warmth of what I wanted to do in that memory quilt. And that was really fun. And then I was able to use that with the suggestion of making flyers, my business cards. You were very generous in showing me how to get contacts, which is another, that's kind of scary.
It is.
Because how do you set up the business and how do you get contacts? That was really important to me. That was a big part of the support you gave. And then you were saying things like, well, be sure you keep track of your expenses, because taxes are going to come up at the end. That's what I mean, the whole package, because from front to end. And we talked about pricing.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? We talked about pricing because that's another thing. I mean, what do you charge? It's all these nuts and bolts pieces. And here was one of my favorite, because I'm a people person too. I thought this was really cool because you got me to thinking about what is that first connect with your client? What does that look like? What do you bring when you go?
Yeah.
How do you follow up? How do you stay connected? At the end, I'm going to show you a picture of my very first client and what I did for her.
Oh, cool.
But that whole process, then when I walked out from that experience, I had a lot of tools, and it was easy because I had the checks. And then there was creative flex too, because then I went home and I wrote my business description. And I was a small business. It wasn't like I was going to go to a bank and apply for a loan, but still you have to wrap your head around who are you in this business. And you were really good at helping me to get that in place.
And you're an action taker, so you're going to get stuff done.
It helps to know where you're going when you're taking the action.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Can you show us the picture? Do you have it? Is that all right?
I do, sure.
That's so cool, Holly.
Yeah, this is, let me give you a little background. This was a woman who had saved every t-shirt of the first year of her child. Every t-shirt. So there were little ones, and then they got progressively bigger.
Wow.
And so it was, challenging, but exciting for me. And her little boy was going to be 3, and she wanted to get this thing done by Christmas to give as a Christmas present. So I brought all these t-shirts home. And this is I don't know if you're going to be able to see this.
Yeah. Oh, wow. There's so many.
So it was so fun to do for her because I knew how she was going to be using this.
And then
she was going to
Did you put applique in there?
No. Well, yes. But how I did the applique, you're going to love this. So all of these I had to size everything to fit. So quilting is really arithmetic.
Oh yeah.
I've kind of discovered this. So you'll see big blocks and little blocks. And so some of the blocks were the whole t-shirt. Other ones I had to make into bigger blocks because they were an odd size, but it all came together. But the applique was things like on the toe of one of the onesies or something real cute. It had a frog.
Cool.
So I would cut out the toe on on that onesie and make the little frog face, and then I could applique that
So
on.
it still had like a piece of the memory of the item.
Yes, exactly. Like here, that one's a little hard to see in probably this, but this was the toe of one of the onesies. It was the face of a little dog.
Oh, yeah.
So
you
I
can
cut that.
use
I cut that toe off, got a block, and appliqued it to the block, and so it became part of the quilt. That dog, the bulldog,
Oh,
was another
cool.
guy.
Look at the guy.
So it was really, really fun doing this for her. And here is the reason why you do the class. I mean, with you, that free session with you, is because here's the picture. Look at the
Oh,
smile, and
That's
this is
worth
Christmas
everything.
Day.
Wow.
And he was so happy, and it makes me happy
Yeah.
because she had a dream. I had a dream to start the business. She had a dream to make this quilt happen, but she couldn't do the dream without me. So it all just, I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
That is such a good example of just like a happy client all the way around. You know, that's
Yes, it was.
more
And
than
it's
the
very,
invoice
very
they
good.
pay, like worth multitudes more. It's priceless. That's just priceless.
Yeah. And you have to kind of press in and do the hard work to get it put together and reach out. And then all of a sudden you have your first client, and, you know,
That's really cool.
yes, exactly.
What
It made
would
me
you
feel
tell
really
anybody
good.
that might be thinking about having a free session with me when you know, because I'm putting it out there that people can sign up for a free consultation with me? What would you tell them?
I would say you're getting probably one of the best mentors and support systems for you to get involved with in order to be successful. I also want to say you have so much experience, you know, business acumen and experience in your field, that you share generously not only the information but contacts. You are available upfront, after the session is over. I mean, you really engage with people. You're fun.
Well, thanks, Holly.
Well,
What's it all
you
about
know,
if it's not fun, right?
well, I'm just saying, you know, I took my business seriously, and I needed to get some serious skills under me. But there's something about just having good people around you, and you're good people.
Thanks, Holly.
And I would just say, you know, if you're thorough, again, that complete package, you're very, very thorough. So I think if people would engage in these, what an opportunity. This could be a very expensive thing to go sort out, and you're giving, that's part of your generosity. You just want to help people succeed, and together you guys, we all grow. But if you just want to step into the business, you're going to get that thorough connect, and pretty soon you're living your dream and growing yourself and getting to have fun, like my projects here
That's awesome.
display. So,
Well, thanks for doing the interview with me, Holly. It's so cool to see what you did with those projects and, you know, hear your experience. I really appreciate it.
it was my pleasure, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much.